Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And Jeffrey, welcome to the channel, my man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jeff.
Jeff, you are on Performance Bike presented by Chico Cycling Team. Did I get that right?
That is correct, yes.
New team this year, kind of a combination of a couple of teams. But we're talking about the Coppertown Circuit race today. I unfortunately was not there, and neither was Team Mike's Bikes. We are living vicariously through Jeffrey's footage, and I'm excited to get into it because this, on paper, is not an exciting course, but we had pretty serious wind, which was in the crosswind direction, so a definitely significant factor in this race. We have rolling hills, we have hairpins, and we have, Tayroon with 5 riders, Ride Bikes Bro with a couple of guys, Alto Velo. Don't sleep on Alto Velo. They came out swinging today. Let's quickly talk, Jeff, about your role on the team, because you guys brought 6 riders. I'm assuming you had that pre-race talk. What was the breakdown of responsibility coming into this?
Yeah, so coming into this race, the plan was I was supposed to get in the breakaway and win from the breakaway. Plans don't always work out how you want, so we also had Taylor who was with us, and he was our designated field sprinter for the day. So those were kind of the roles. The other couple guys that were with us, a little bit varying fitness, and they just sort of played support for the day.
Awesome. Sounds like you had your bases covered. Let's dive into some racing, shall we? And what I say from the top, let's not sleep on Alto Velo, because Cameron went from like lap number 2 or something like that?
Yeah, about the beginning of lap 2, he sent a flyer and stuck it until just now.
Which is like almost an hour off the front. So, kudos to him for making this ballsy attack. And then also, it almost worked. He was out there for almost an hour by himself on these rollers in this crosswind. And look what it forces you to do. Pretty hard effort on the front to pull that back. Tayroon having to do the same thing. And you guys weren't exactly playing nice. There was a lot of attack, counterattack stuff because Tayroon wants you to chase, but you guys want Tayroon to chase. It was one of those situations. Now that Cameron's brought back, and his sprinter was able to sit in and rest, by the way, now it's just going to be one of those things, I feel like, where all the teams are going to try to reshuffle and to make a more favorable breakaway for themselves. Is it kind of how it felt for you guys?
Yeah. So right now we're all kind of back together, but it is not a time to relax and just sit in and let your guard down. It is getting close to the end of the race, so people are going to want to try and attack and play their cards. As a team, we do need to make sure that we are represented in anything that does go off the front. So at this point, we got to keep our head on a swivel and just be ready for whatever comes.
Yeah, so let's see how you guys can execute that. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. You want to control things. You have Jeff, you're on the front right now blocking. Teammate Bob launches it, and this is what you want, representation. You see all these other teams jumping across to Bob. An important thing happens right here. You take a peek around and you realize, hey, Bob, I love you, but maybe the fitness isn't great this time of year. And Bob cannot latch onto the back of those front riders, which means, Jeff, you got to step on it because you can't, with 15 kilometers to go, less than that, you cannot let all the competition just get away. And he's even looking back right here. And it's like, yeah, you have to make this move. And it stings, for sure. You don't want to be making this effort. But look at this group up the road. I mean, all the major teams. You have Tayroon. You have, I think it's even a Ride Bikes Bro in between. And then it is. And then you have Alto Velo on the front. Is that Cam again?
It is, yes.
Dude's a rock star. Oh, my God. And you can see now the wind is a factor. We are in the gutter. And this is the coverage that we're talking about on Performance Bike. You cannot, as the dominant team with 6 riders, you cannot sit back and chill and let a group like this roll off the front because that might be game over. So coming into the last lap, unfortunately that move you were in, Jeff, was brought back, but what's going on here?
So here, Tayroon decided to throw a flyer. We're about 5K out, and that's the move they wanted to play. My job, I had to make sure we covered it. We can't let that go up the road without us being in it.
Smart move. I think is this Zach? Is that his name?
It is, yes. It's Zach.
Zach's strong. Zach's new to the NorCal racing scene, I think. Awesome pickup by Tayroon. He is definitely a guy to work with. He's flicking you the elbow, and let's see. Are you going to work with this?
I will eventually. I needed a little bit more of a firm flick to pull through.
The second flick. It was like the first one was a suggestion, the second one was a command. And you oblige. Holy smokes, 550. I think maybe you looked back. It's hard to tell without a rear camera, but I mean, you did like 1,200 watts or something to jump on, and now you're doing 500. You guys must have a gap.
We did. We had probably about a 10-second gap or so. for a little while with 3 of us up the road.
And not just any 3 of you. These are the major teams. Like, when you get into a breakaway like this, especially late in the race, you start thinking, like, who is there to chase back in the field? Like, this might be the winner. I'm looking at this right now, and I'm thinking this is the winner because you have Nick Baird on the right, which, by the way, look out for him. He's a sprinter. And then you have Zach in front of you, no slouch either. And are you thinking at this point, you're obviously committing yourself to this breakaway, which, by the way, good job. I think that was what your role was from the beginning of this race. But also, like, what were you thinking? You're committing energy to this. Were you confident you could win out of this group of 3?
I was very confident in my abilities coming into the end of this race with this group. Always got to be willing to throw your cards on the table and take a chance.
Yeah, man, these are big boy poles right here. Another 500-watt pole. You guys are certainly committed to it. Let's fast forward a little bit, see if it works out. Okay, about a kilometer later, you guys have been working your tails off, clean rotation. I mean, you must have 20, 30 seconds at this point. You enter this turnaround, and oh shit, they're right there, Jeff. What happened?
So obviously, Alto Velo hit the front and dragged it back. You know, people were willing to work today.
Dude, that Cameron guy, I'm telling you, that guy's so strong. He was off the front all day, and he's like, not enough. I'm going to continue providing support to my sprinter. What a champ. There he is, 164. Yeah. And, yeah, he really rained on your parade, didn't he?
And just immediately hops in rotation, too.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, let's pick up the pace here, boys. We're not going fast enough. I got a sprinter back there I'm working for. So that's what he's doing. Just like a good teammate, he's like, I want to keep this all together for my sprinter. I did my job. I was off the front most of this race. Hey, it didn't work. Right? Bike racing, like, think about it. I go out to, 30, 40 events. If I can snag a few wins, that's a good season. So it's not this type of sport where it's 1 versus 1 and like you have a 50% chance of winning. There's a bunch of capable guys of winning, and you have to make sure that your efforts aren't just for you. So in this case, Cameron did such a good job for his teammate because he gave himself this wonderful chance to win, which almost worked, but all the while he set his teammate up for the win. So now we're thinking field sprint. Now it's definitely looking very much like a field sprint. You're still covering this move right here. It's not looking like anything's going to get away with just over 2 kilometers to go. You're starting to think about, where's my sprinter? Where are we in relation to the front? Where are the other teams? Like, walk me through this, Jeff. What's going on in your head right now?
Yeah, so at this point, it's pretty clear that we're just going to be rolling into that field sprint. So my job is to look for my sprinter behind me, try and get him attached to my wheel, and take him to the line.
Yeah, 2 kilometers to go. You're starting to think about organization. Like if an attack goes right now, you're covering it. That's for sure, right?
Yes, yeah. You can't afford to have anything go off the front right now.
And you can see some other lead-out guys starting to organize on the front. This rider in front of you on ride bikes, strong sprinter, but he is not their field sprinter, right? Nick is their field sprinter. And he was the guy that was in that earlier breakaway with you, which hopefully means he's a little bit tired from that effort. And then in front of him, it looks like that is Cameron still. And then in front of Cameron, you have, that might still be Zach, another Tayroon rider. The point of all these riders in front, they're not going to be coming across the line in this order. This is all just to keep it fast enough so things are set up for the field sprint. We're at that stage of the race. This is kind of the final stage of the race. And now you can see those positions are starting to solidify themselves. This is Matt on the left, the second rider in pink with the skin suit on. He's leading things out for, that's right, that third rider on Tayroon is Zach, who is their field sprinter. Nick has crept up on your right. He is the Ride Bikes Bro field sprinter, and then your sprinter's behind you at this moment, I'm hoping. Is that right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, so these are the lines of riders, and these are leadouts. I mean, they're paired down. This isn't World Tour 8-rider leadouts, but this is what it looks like at the end of a hard, hilly, crosswindy road race. And it's so important to get your position and timing right here because Tayroon has 4 riders, because you can see this rider on the left just creeping into frame is also a Tayroon rider. Now, I would be worried about him because I know that Zach is their sprinter. So I would be worried that he is going to drop anchor and just be in that sweeper position. Meanwhile, we have Alto Velo on the right. No leadouts, but his teammate Cam has basically done the lion's share of work up to this point in the race. And he's going to position himself behind Nick, the racing realtor. You need to try to get your teammate to 200 meters? Is that that's usually the plan for a lead out?
Yeah, about 200 meters so that he can come around and pull his trigger.
So we have to be mindful of the crosswind here. We're 400 meters to go. It's almost time to start sprinting. I mean, I'm surprised things aren't lifted up at close to 40 miles an hour at this point. You can see on the right, it looks like Nick is going to launch way too early because he doesn't have any more teammates, but he felt confident in his sprint. And then on the right, we have Alto Velo just here showing you guys what 1600 watts feels like. And you were going to launch, but I feel like it's maybe a little bit late. 100 meters to go. You should be dropping your teammate off. Hopefully we're going to see him in frame. I like that you gave him space. There he is, but you guys just kind of ran out of road. I mean, he came around you with some speed. Where did he end up?
He ended up taking 4th on the day.
So not a bad spot. I want to go back real fast, if you don't mind, Jeff, and play in that last couple hundred meters. And I want to break down that sprint a little bit more, if you don't mind. Okay, Jeff, we're taking this again in slow-mo. Now I want you to pay attention to this rider on your right. This is Nick. I think basically you should have been Nick in this situation for a couple of reasons. One, he is on the right-hand side of the road, protected from the crosswind. This is so important, and there's enough space there. They're leaving it open. Don't ask me why. I don't know, but you need to take advantage of that. Now, this is the second reason. See how he starts to sprint? He goes way too early. If he had a teammate in his wheel, this would have been great. If that were you, now imagine your teammate on your wheel in this position. I don't know if anybody was going to beat Alto Velo today. Going to be honest with you. Dude, I think he came from the East Coast or something. Dude just made like 1600 watts or something. And he just sprinted the doors off of everybody. But I think that if you're Nick in this position, you're finishing your pole right now. Your watts are done. You're over at 150 meters. Your sprinter is coming around, hopping in the draft of Alto Velo in this moment. Maybe coming around. Who knows? But I think you could have secured second place for the team had you just been on the right-hand side of the road and gone a little bit earlier. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
I hate to nag. I feel I'm being extra critical, but I just see those little tiny differences, and I swear they result in you're on the box or you're not on the box. You know?
No, feel free. Any criticism is welcome. Hey, that's bike racing. That's exactly how it works every week, though.
Yeah, dude, I totally wish your breakaway would have worked. Honestly, that looked so promising when we were watching that footage. That turnaround was like, wait a second, how did Cam close that down? Dude's strong.
Yeah, no, I was hoping that one was going to work too.
All right, well, there's always next weekend, right?
Exactly.
And I hope to be out there with you guys next weekend, except I won't. It'll be a few more weekends, but I'm looking forward to it nevertheless. And hey, great having you on, man. Awesome experience. Thanks for letting me enjoy this, even though I wasn't there.
Yeah, of course, Jeff. Always happy to come on and do some bike racing.
All right, we'll catch you guys in the next one.